Welcome dear students. So today we are going to start third lecture on this chapter number 2 of our syllabus. So in today's class we will going to discuss about behavior of conductors in electrostatic field, electrical capacitance, principle of capacitance, capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor, series and parallel combination of capacitors. So dear students, first of all we will going to discuss about behavior of conductors in the electrostatic field. So first property is net electric field intensity in the interior of a conductor is zero. That is, inside any conductor specimen the electric field intensity will be zero. Okay, so how we can understood this? So let I have taken a specimen. This specimen, it is made up of what? Any conductor. Okay, I have placed it in uniform electric field. The moment I tell you the uniform electric field means what? The field lines must be parallel and straight. They should start from positive and they should end to negative. Okay, so how we can verify this? So I have placed this conducting specimen in the external electric field. How much electric field is there? E naught. Okay, direction is from along positive x direction. Okay, so whenever I place this conducting material, okay, what I know about the conductor? What is the very basic property? That conductors contain very large number of free electrons. Okay, what they contain? Very large number of free electrons. So the moment you place this conducting specimen inside the external electric field, okay, what will going to happen? Since it contains free electron, okay, so and you have placed this in external electric field, so whenever you are placing any charges in external electric field, they will going to experience certain force. So if electron, they will going to suffer a force, they will going to experience a force opposite to the direction of electric field. So that's why here free electrons of this conductor, they will going to experience a force opposite to the direction of external electric field. That is, they will going to experience a force towards negative x direction, and hence they get accumulated near this left portion of the conducting specimen. At the same moment, you just think of, if initially, see, conductor was by default, it was electrically neutral, but it contains very large number of free electrons. Those free electrons, they shifted themselves and get accumulated on this left portion because of force experienced due to this external electric field. Now the moment they have shifted this side, what they have left behind? Whenever electrons, they move from one position to another position, what they left behind? See, electron carry negative charge. So when electrons have come, what they left behind? Positive charge. So the electrons, as a result of external electric force, okay, they have shifted themselves towards this left portion. At the same moment, what they have left behind? Positive charge on the right portion. So what we can say, when we have placed this conductor in external electric field, so accumulation of charges is taking place. Okay, that is, charges is getting adhered or getting accumulated, getting deposited. Negative charge on left portion, positive charge on right portion. Okay, you just think these are point charges only in itself. Individually they are point charge. So again, here some positive charge, here some negative charge. So electric field will be there, and direction of electric field, from positive source charge it will be away, for negative charge it will be towards. So here, due to accumulation of these negative charges on left portion, positive charges on right portion, a electric field will going to set up. Okay, and this electric field, I have termed it as EP. Why EP? P stand for polarization. Dear student, this process of this shifting of charges, electrons on left hand side, positive charge on right hand side, this process later on we will going to see that it is nothing but so called electric polarization. What is that? Electric polarization. See, this is just separation between this external electric field, it has brought about separation between the charges. See, earlier they were uniformly distributed, all the free charges distributed, but because of external electric field, these charges now get separated. Okay, they have obtained certain electric dipole and electric dipole moment. Later on we will going to discuss in detail. Okay, but for the time being, you just remember that this process of separation of charges, accumulation and separation of charges as a result of force experienced due to this electric field, external electric field on the free charge carrier, is giving rise to a inside electric field, okay, which is nothing but the electric field due to polarization, because this polarization, this process itself given the name polarization. Okay, the separation between negative and positive charges. Okay, so it was not earlier initially present. Okay, so as a result of this polarization process, these charges get separated. They have formed, in some sense we can say, electric dipole. They have induced some electric dipole movement. So later on we will discuss this thing. We are not mixing this here, but for the time being, you just remember that this electric field, and which is opposite with the direction of this E node. Okay, so it has built up. Now the question arises, up to what extent, how much amount of electron free charges they will going to getting accumulated on this left portion by leaving the same amount of positive charge on right portion. Mean, how much amount of electric field intensity will going to set up due to this polarization process, okay, as caused by this external electric field. So the answer is that this amount of EP, the amount of electric field due to polarization, will be in such a way that these electrons, these free charge carriers, they will keep on building, they will keep on depositing here. The moment this electric field, it get balanced with the external field. Try to understand. See, due to this external electric field, electrons, they are getting deposited on left portion, they are leaving behind same amount of positive charge on right portion. This accumulation of negative and positive charge separated by certain distance, it is giving rise to certain electric field. That electric field I have termed as EP. Okay, so this EP amount, how much this EP will going to build, so that it able to balance or cancel external electric field, because this EP in direction, it is opposite to the direction of external electric field. So in magnitude, how much this building or deposition or accumulation of electron will going to take place, the moment till that this EP able to cancel the effect of external electric field. And at that moment, you tell me, if I want to know E net inside, see, total electric field, net resultant electric field inside. So it will be what? It will be two electric fields are there. One is external electric field, other is the electric field due to polarization process, due to this external electric field. Okay, so E net will be what? E net will be E naught plus EP, since they are vector quantity and their direction are opposite. So it will be E naught magnitude minus EP magnitude. What I told you, this is the property of conductor, that this amount of EP, it will be simply equal in magnitude with respect to E naught. So that's why E naught minus EP simply get balanced with each other, and hence net electric field become 0. So that's why we can say net electric field intensity in the interior of a conductor is always 0. I hope this is clear to you. Okay. So now what we can say, when a conductor is placed in an electrostatic field, the charges, that is free electrons, drift towards the positive plate, leaving the positive core behind. Okay. So these are negative charges, they have accumulated towards this left end, positive charge they have deposited here. Okay, the electric field due to the polarization becomes equal to the applied field. This is a property of conductor. Okay, so the net electrostatic field inside the conductor is 0. Okay, so second property is electric field just outside the charged conductor is perpendicular to the surface of the conductor. So electric field just outside, wherever you see, electric field must be perpendicular. It must be perpendicular to the surface of the conductor. So I have taken this specimen of any conductor, and this charge I have taken on the surface, correct? So let I call this electric field, okay, so let I call this electric field, just converse I am taking, let I call electric field is not perpendicular, rather it is making certain angle theta. See, rule is what, property is what, electric field just outside the charged conductor is perpendicular. Electric field should be perpendicular, but I am taking the converse case, and later on I will going to prove it false, and hence I will say yes, electric field must be perpendicular. So let I call electric field is not perpendicular, rather it is making certain angle theta at this point on the surface of the conductor. So along this reference, horizontal component will be E cos theta. So that's why what I can say in this case, suppose the electric field is acting at an angle other than 90 degree, okay, like any theta I have taken here, then there will be a component E cos theta. There will be a component E cos theta which is tangential. See, this E cos theta is along the surface. It is tangential component along the tangent at that point to the surface, which will tend to accelerate. See, whenever any electric field is there, okay, and I place any charge here, so tell me, whenever electric field is there and point charge is there, so this electric field will going to put certain force on this charge, correct? And force means what? Acceleration. So acceleration will be there. So this tangential component at the point of surface will tend to accelerate the charge. It will tend to accelerate the charge on the surface, leading to, so whenever charges are accelerating on the surface, okay, they will going to constitute what? See, in 10th standard we have studied that whenever charges are in motion, they will going to constitute current. So due to this tangential component E cos theta, a force will be acting on this charge particle which is lying on the surface. This charge particle will going to accelerate. Charge particle acceleration means what? There will be certain current, and we will call that current as surface current. But there is no concept of surface current in electrostatics, okay, since the electrostatic itself mean charges are at rest. So whenever charges are at rest, there is no scope of electric current flow. So that's why, since this, if this electric field vector would have made any angle other than 90 degree, there will be certain horizontal component tangential to the given surface. It would lead to certain force or acceleration on the charge particle. The charge particle should accelerate and move, and hence they should constitute some surface current. But unfortunately, as per electrostatics, charges should be at rest and there should not be any surface current. So our assumption is wrong, and hence we will say this theta other than 90 degree, it is not possible. It must be 90 degree. See, it must be 90 degree, mean electric field must be along this direction. So dear students, if electric field is along this direction, then along the surface, how much angle it has made? Theta is 90 degree. So if electric field is along this direction, this E cos 90 will be what? 0. And if electric field is 0, no force or no acceleration on the charge particle, and hence there will be no surface current. That is our demand as per this electrostatics. Okay. So this case is not possible, and hence we will say electric field must be perpendicular to any point in its locality on the surface of a conductor. It cannot form other angle than 90 degree. Okay. So third is net charge in the interior of a conductor is 0. Net charge inside the interior of a conductor is 0. So for that sake, we have taken a conducting specimen. Okay. So the charges are temporarily separated. The total charges of the system is 0 only. Okay. Now see, we can apply Gauss law. So what is Gauss law? As per Gauss theorem, this electric flux through a closed surface will be equal to what? Surface integral, that is E dot ds vector over the Gaussian surface or closed surface will be equal to Q divided by epsilon naught. Now dear student, you just tell me from the first property, electric field inside, you tell me net electric field inside a specimen of conductor, we have already understood that it will be 0. So if this electric field is 0, left hand side becomes 0, Q by epsilon naught becomes 0, means Q will be equal to 0. So since E is 0 in the interior of the conductor, we can very safely say that Q enclosed will be 0, because this E is 0. We have already proved that inside the specimen of any conductor, inside the body of any conductor, net electric field will be 0, because due to polarization process, EP also build up, and this simply balance the external electric field, and hence net electric field becomes 0. As per Gauss theorem, this E dot ds vector integration will be equal to Q by epsilon naught. If E itself 0, so left hand side is 0, so right hand side will has to be 0. So Q enclosed will be 0, and we can say net charge in the interior of a conductor is 0. Now next property is charge always resides on the surface of a conductor, that whatever charge you give to the conductor, it must have to present or reside on the surface of a conductor. So how we can understand this? So for that, we have taken a conducting specimen, okay, any amount of this lump of charges we are giving, correct? So what we want to know, that whenever you give any amount of charge, so it is the property of a conductor that the same amount of charge will going to immediately spread uniformly throughout its surface. So this is the property of conductor. So since Q inside will be 0, so this charge has to reside on the surface of a conductor only. Already in this third point we have understood that net charge inside a conductor will be 0. So whatever charge you are giving, only option is what? It has to get uniformly spread or distributed over the entire surface of the conductor. So this is one of the most peculiar property of the conductor, that whatever charge you give, immediately the same amount of charge will going to get uniformly distributed over its entire surface. So this property we will going to use many times. So here, suppose a conductor is given some excess charge Q, construct a Gaussian surface just inside the conductor. So this dotted portion, this is Gaussian surface, and from this third point we have already understood that here no charge can reside. So that's why the only option is that since electric field is 0 in the interior of the conductor, therefore charge will be also 0. And hence the excess charge will going to simply get distributed over the entire surface in a uniform manner. Next, electric potential is constant for the entire conductor. So here how we can understood, so already we know the relation between electric field and potential. So how we can understood that electric field is a vector quantity, and if we want to establish the relation between electric field and potential, so electric field is equal to negative gradient of potential. In previous class we have understood that electric field is nothing but it is simply the negative gradient of potential. Okay, by now from these properties we have understood that electric field inside the conducting specimen, electric field inside any conductor is 0, that is left hand side is 0. So now you tell me, whenever differentiation of any physical quantity is comes out to be 0, means differentiation means what? Change in that quantity. So if the change in any quantity is 0, it implies that this quantity is no longer changing. So it implies that this, if this electric field is 0, so this implies that since the differentiation of this dV by dr, okay, since the differentiation of this V, that is dV by dr, is 0, it means V is no longer changing. So V is constant only. That's why we can say electric potential is constant for the entire conductor inside the specimen of a conductor. So since E is 0 in the interior of the conductor, okay, so we can say dV is equals 0, and dV means what? Change in V. So if change in V is 0 means no change, means constant. Okay, next property, surface charge distribution may be different at different points. So how can understand this? So this type of conducting surface we have taken. What we know, if we talk about the surface charge density, so what is surface charge density? Surface charge density, it is represented by sigma, and it will be the ratio of charge per unit surface area. So surface charge density is simply charge per unit surface area. Okay, so now you just see, if we talk about, if we are giving any excess charge to a conductor, okay, but this conductor is not having a symmetrical shape or symmetrical dimension. Okay, so in that case, how this distribution of charge will going to take place, like at which point it will be more density and at what point it will be having less amount of charge. So it depends on what? Sigma equals Q divided by S. So wherever the surface area is small, okay, Q is getting uniformly distributed. But if we talk about charge distribution, that is charge density, so it may not be same. If the symmetry, if the shape of conductor is not symmetric or regular, in that case, although charge will going to get uniformly spreaded, but depending on this surface area, this surface charge density, it may not be same. That is, it may be somewhere it may be very less, and other point it may be very high. Why? Because you just refer this sigma equals Q divided by S. Okay, so charge is same, but surface area, if surface area is large, then sigma will be small. If surface area is small, sigma will be large. So see, here this is pointed end, this is a kind of pointed end, and it is very sure that at this pointed end, this surface area will be what? Surface area will be very less as compared to this point. Same amount I have taken. So here the surface area of this conductor is very less. Here the surface area of the conductor is very large. So for same amount of charge present there, surface area is different. So if surface area is large, means sigma will be small. So that's why at this portion sigma will be minimum. While at this pointed end, since surface area is very small, so that's why numerically sigma will be maximum, or we can say it will be highest. So every conductor is an equipotential volume. In three-dimensional, we can say is an equipotential volume rather than just an equipotential surface. So this is actually hold good for three-dimensional rather two-dimensional. Next is electrical capacitance. So what is the meaning of electrical capacitance? So electrical capacitance is simply the measure of the ability of a conductor to store charges, is known as capacitance or capacity. Okay, so capacitance simply means how much amount of charge does a conductor can store. So that is simply the electrical capacitance. So since we know this charge and electric potential, okay, expression and everything we have understood. So charge, this electric potential and charge, they are always directly proportional to each other. Mean if charge is large, if any conductor is having more amount of charge, its potential will be high, obviously. Okay, or vice versa. So Q is directly proportional to V. So when we remove this proportionality sign, what we can put here, we will put the proportionality constant, that is capital C, and capital C is nothing but capacitance. It is what? Electrical capacitance. So this relation you remember, charge is directly proportional to the electric potential. More charge mean more potential, or vice versa. Okay, so when we remove this proportionality sign, so we will going to put constant of proportionality as capital C, and capital C is electrical capacitance. Okay, so Q equals CV we have obtained, or we can say C will be equal to what? C will be equal to Q divided by V. So capacitance is nothing but the ratio of amount of charge required divided by the electric potential. Okay, so if V is 1 volt, then C will be equal to Q. This capacitance will be numerically equal to charge only. So capacitance of a conductor is defined as the charge required. See, Q is what? Q is charge required to raise the potential through 1 unit. So if I fix this V to be 1 volt, V to be 1 volt, then capital C is numerically equal to Q. So how we can physically define this? Capacitance of a conductor is defined as the charge required to raise its potential through 1 unit. 1 unit means 1 volt. So that amount of charge required will be simply termed as electrical capacitance, so as to raise the potential through 1 volt. Now SI unit of capacitance is farad. It is what? Farad, and it is represented by capital F. Symbol is what? Simple parallel lines we have to draw, and this connecting wires we have to show. Okay, so this is the representation or symbol of this electrical capacitance. Now capacitance is said to be 1 farad. That is how to define the SI unit of electrical capacitance. So always you follow the formula or expression. In the formula or expression, you just put their respective SI unit and put their magnitude everywhere unity. That is 1, 1, 1. Everywhere you put 1, 1, 1. Okay, so capacitance is said to be 1 farad. When we will say capacitance as 1 farad? When 1 coulomb of charge, this charge is having SI unit as coulomb, this potential having as volt. So when 1 coulomb of charge raises the potential, charge does what? Charge simply raises the potential. Charge is directly proportional to the potential. So when 1 coulomb of charge raises the potential of a conductor by 1 volt, so we will say capacitance will be 1 farad. Since 1 coulomb is the big amount of charge, practically the capacitance will be usually in the range of millifarad, microfarad, or nanofarad or picofarad. Now capacitance of an isolated spherical conductor. Okay, so some spherical conductor we have taken at its center. Okay, let we have placed positive point charge. Okay, let a charge Q be given to the sphere which is assumed to be concentrated at the center. Okay, so now potential at any point on the surface. What we know, whenever we have any point charge, so at a separation R, due to this point charge, V equals what? V is nothing but Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught. So Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into R. Okay, so that's why we can write V will be equal to what? Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R. And hence, since C is what? Capacitance is the ratio of charge to the potential. You put the value here. So C will be equal to what? Q divided by Q cancelled out. 4 pi epsilon naught go to the numerator. And C comes out to be 4 pi epsilon naught into R. Okay, so capacitance of a spherical conductor is directly proportional to what? Radius of the conductor. Mean, if we want to have more capacitance, we require more and more size of the spherical conductor. Mean its radius should be high and high. Now capacitance of a spherical conductor is directly proportional to the radius. We have already seen the above equation is true for conducting spheres, hollow or solid. Whatever type of sphere surface we are having, it is true. If the sphere is in a medium, so here we have talked about vacuum only. If we fill this with any medium, so in medium I told you, for any medium, this with respect to medium, this epsilon naught is the characteristics of the medium. Okay, epsilon naught related to vacuum. If any medium, simply we will put the epsilon. Okay, so if the sphere is in a medium, then we will going to replace this epsilon naught by epsilon. Okay, and what we know that epsilon r, that is relative permittivity. Okay, relative, the name itself suggesting relative permittivity is nothing but permittivity of any medium divided by permittivity of free space, and this epsilon r is nothing but also known as dielectric constant. Already we have discussed. So dielectric constant or relative permittivity, okay, is the ratio of this permittivity of medium to the permittivity of free space. So since in case of any medium, what I need to write, I have to write in place of epsilon naught, I will write epsilon. Now epsilon equals what? See, from this equation you do the cross multiplication. Okay, so epsilon will be equal to epsilon r times epsilon naught. So here I will going to replace, in place of epsilon naught I will write epsilon, and epsilon will be equal to what? Epsilon naught into epsilon r. So epsilon r is what? Relative permittivity or dielectric constant. Okay, next thing, capacitance of earth is around 711 microfarad, because earth is supposed to be a kind of spherical conductor. Next, principle of capacitance. So in first step, what we have taken, plate A is positively charged and plate B is neutral. We have taken two parallel plate. Okay, A is initially positively charged, B is uncharged only, correct? In second step, what we are going to do, so potential, any V potential is there because of this charge, any capital V potential we are having, because potential depend on charge only, correct? Second case, when a neutral plate B is brought near A, charges are induced on B such that the side near A is negatively charged and the other side is positive. See, when this B is far away, so there will be no effect, but when we are bringing this towards this plate A, which is already charged, so dear students, you just try to recall the concept of electrostatic induction. Electrostatic induction is what? It is a kind of temporary electrification of any uncharged body by bringing it near to a charged one. So in this case, if we are bringing this uncharged metal plate nearer to this charged one, not in physical contact, just nearby, then electrostatic induction process will going to take place. That is, opposite charge will going to induce at the nearer end, while this similar charge will going to appear at the farther end. Okay, so in this case, how we can understood this? When I have brought it near, so when I brought this B plate nearer, then only there will be scope of electrostatic induction. Because of electrostatic induction, see, this is positive, so negative charge will going to appear here as induced charge, positive will be same amount of positive at the farther end. Okay, so what we can say here, so potential is V only, because if we talk about net charge, see, here source charge was this, because of this potential was how much? V, capital V. Okay, this B was initially neutral. When I brought it near to this charged plate, electrostatic induction take place. But in electrostatic induction, we always know the amount of induced charge negative is always equal to the amount of induced charge which is positive. So net charge is again same only. See, this negative and positive getting cancelled out. So potential will not going to change. So there is no use of this. So rather, what we will going to do now, the potential of the system A and B in step 1 and step 2 remains the same, because the potential due to positive and negative charges on B cancelled out. This charge cancelled out, and hence we will say potential also cancelled out, because potential depend on charge. Now In third step, what is our purpose? We want to increase the capacitance. We want that a particular capacitor arrangement, it should able to store more and more amount of charge. Its capacity should be high. Its capacitance should be high. So for that purpose, in third step, what we will going to do, when the farther end of B is earthed mean what? We will going to make it ground, and ground, whenever we do grounding means we are sharing the charge with earth and the charge gets simply neutralized. So when the farther end of B, this is positive side, this positive side, if we are earthing it, okay, so what will going to happen? When it is earthed, the positive charges on B get neutralized. So this is the basic phenomena whenever we are doing earthing or grounding. Okay, so charge gets shared with earth and hence get neutralized. But the left portion of B, see, this positive charge will going to get neutralized. So this positive charge will going to get neutralized. The moment this positive charge is, okay, the moment this farther end, okay, right portion of this plate is grounded, these positive charge, they get shared with earth and hence get neutralized. But still you see, these negative charges, they are already present. Now also they are present. Okay, so they are present here, negative charge. Now you just think about what will going to happen to the potential. In first and second step, potential was V only. But dear students, now you see here positive potential. Okay, positive charge means positive potential because potential is a scalar quantity. Here now positive charge get neutralized. What we are left with? Negative charge. Negative charge means what? Negative potential. So if we talk about this complete arrangement, here positive potential, here negative potential. So total potential will going to get reduce or decrease. Is it clear or not? So here positive charge, positive potential. Okay, here only negative charge, so negative potential. So net potential will be what? This positive minus negative, and hence it will going to get reduced or decrease. Okay, so now we can safely say, to increase the potential to the same value as was in step 2, an additional amount of charges can be given to the plate A. So what they are saying, so here we have seen, dear students, after grounding the further end of plate B, okay, what we have seen, that potential of this arrangement of two parallel plates, it has decreased. Okay, if we want to increase the potential to its previous level, how much was the previous level? It was some capital V, but now because of this arrangement it has somewhat reduced. Now if we want to increase the potential, potential is directly proportional to what? Potential is directly proportional to charge. Mean if we want to increase the potential till its earlier level, okay, we can give more and more amount of charge to this plate A, and hence we will say more charge means what? This A plate is now able to store more charges, and hence its capacity will going to increase. So to increase the potential to the same value, so potential reduced in third step we have seen, to increase the potential to the same value as was in step 2, an additional amount of charges can be given to the plate A. We can give more and more charges to plate A so as to increase the potential to its earlier level, and hence we are able to store more charges. Okay, so this means the capacity of storing charges on A increases. This was our sole motive, and hence we have achieved our motto. So the system so formed is called a capacitor. So this parallel plate arrangement, we have seen that it is working in an appropriate way so as to increase the capacitance, or say the ability to increase the ability to store the more and more amount of charges. By this particular arrangement, we have seen that we have an arrangement of higher capacitance, higher capacity to store more and more amount of charges. So this is the principle of capacitance. Now, capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor. So such type of capacitor if we use, so what should be the capacitance of parallel plate capacitor? So parallel plate capacitor is an arrangement of two parallel conducting plates of equal area separated by air or any medium, okay, any medium such as paper, mica, glass. Okay, so parallel plate capacitor is what? It is an arrangement of two parallel conducting plates of equal area, two parallel conducting plates of equal area separated by any medium. Okay, so here now you just see, one is positively charged and other is negatively charged, but the surface density is same. Here positively charged, here negatively charged. So here plus sigma, here minus sigma. Okay, so D is the separation between these parallel plates. A, let we call area of cross section, capital A. And now you just recall the application of Gauss theorem or Gauss law. There we studied that whenever we have an arrangement of parallel plates which are equal but oppositely charged, okay, so in the left region electric field will be 0, in the right extreme region electric field will be 0, but in between the plate the electric field will be non-zero, direction will be from positive to negative, amount will be sigma divided by epsilon naught. So this you try to recall. Okay, we have already studied this thing while discussing the concept of Gauss theorem applications. Okay, so in between two equal and oppositely charged plate, the electric field in between them will be non-zero, will be equal to numerically sigma divided by epsilon naught, direction will be from positive to negative. Okay, so now what we know, since how electric field and potential they are connecting, you just try to recall. See, if I talk about for a point charge, electric field is what? Electric field is Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, and it will be separation, correct? In the same way it was separation square. Potential at the same separation it will be what? Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught. So potential due to a point charge 4 pi epsilon naught into separation R. Okay, what is the relation between them? See, Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught is common only. Here R square. So roughly what I can say, electric field E is equal to V divided by separation. Electric field, just for points are, for example, I am just discussing electric field. What is the relation between these two? So relation is what? Electric field is equal to potential divided by separation between them. Okay, separation between the source charge and the observation point. So this is just a rough idea that electric field, so for this locality it is true. Okay, so electric field is equal to what? Potential divided by the separation. So now you tell me what should be the relation for our case, for present situation. Electric field is E. Okay, electric field is E. Potential, let I call potential between these plates is how much? Potential difference is V. Okay, now separation in my case is how much? Separation is D. So E will be equal to V by D, or cross multiplication V will be equal to what? V will be equal to E into separation. So that's why V will be equal to E into D. So here I have written V equals electric field into separation between the parallel plates. Now E, how much? E I have already told, it will be sigma divided by epsilon naught into D. So V I have written depending on the relation between electric field and electric potential, that electric field is equal to this electric potential divided by separation. And dear students, from this expression itself, many a times it is asked that electric field has another SI unit as volt per meter. You know or not? This electric field equals V divided by separation. So V is volt, and R is what? Meter. So volt per meter is also another SI unit of electric field. Okay. Now V equals E into D. E is nothing but sigma divided by epsilon naught here in this region into D. Now what I want, capacitance. Capacitance is what formula I am knowing, that C will be equal to, see what we have written here, V will be equal to what, D divided by epsilon naught. Sigma is what, surface charge density. Sigma is what, surface charge density, that is charge per unit surface area. So sigma I have put here, so V will be equal to QD divided by epsilon naught A. But C is what, C is nothing but Q divided by V. You put the value of V here, so you just switch the value here. So C will be equal to what, C will be equal to, here C is epsilon naught A divided by D. So this is important equation. C is comes out to be epsilon naught A divided by D. Epsilon naught is simply the electrical permittivity of free space if vacuum is present here. A is what, common area. D is what, separation between the parallel plates. So what we can say, if the space between the plates is filled with dielectric medium of relative permittivity epsilon r, so every time whenever we are replace the free space or vacuum by any medium, so epsilon naught we have to replace by epsilon, and epsilon r is equal to what, epsilon divided by epsilon naught. So epsilon will be always equal to what, so epsilon will be always equal to epsilon r into epsilon naught. So that's why we can put here that C will be equal to what, instead of epsilon naught here it will be epsilon r into epsilon naught. So C was epsilon naught A divided by D for vacuum. For any medium it becomes C equals A epsilon naught as it is into epsilon r divided by D. So epsilon r or dielectric constant K, okay, these are same thing. So whenever we put any medium between these parallel plates, so capacitance increases. Capacitance increases by how much factor? It simply becomes epsilon r times the capacitance. So C increased and it will be equal to what? It will be K times K or epsilon r, meaning is same. K times C naught. C naught is what? This capacitance in free space. Okay. So this is the conclusion. Whenever we are replacing the free space between parallel plates by any dielectric medium, so its capacitance increased by a factor of relative permittivity of that medium, or we can say dielectric constant. So it becomes K times C naught, or we can say it becomes epsilon r times C naught. So capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor is directly proportional to the area of the plate. So on area it is directly proportional. Now second, inversely proportional to the distance of the separation between them. Now series combination of capacitor. So if we have a kind of combination, if we have large number of capacitors and we have arranged them in a particular manner, so what type of, how much capacitance will we going to obtain? So first combination is series combination of capacitors. So C1, C2, C3. So one after the other along same line. It tells me what type of combination it is. Series combination. Whenever components are joined along a same line, single line, one after the other. Okay. So this type of combination is known as series combination. Now we have connect them to a battery, okay, having the voltage V. Okay, so C1, C2, C3 are the three capacitors having capacitance C1, C2 and C3. Okay, they will going to store some charge, so positive charge here, negative charge here, similarly positive, negative, positive, negative. Okay, so now in series combination, what we know, just try to recall your 10th standard knowledge. Okay, whenever we have connected the resistance in series, so what remains same? Current remains same. What remains same? Electric current remains same in series combination of resistors. So in the similar manner, see, current is what? Current is nothing but I. Current is nothing but flow, rate of flow of charges. So can I write I equals Q divided by T? So in this way you can understand. So I is directly related to what? Current is directly related to charge. So in series combination of resistances, current remains same. Here we will talk rather in terms of charges, that in series combination of capacitors, what remains same? Charge. So this is the fundamental thing. Charge is same in each capacitor, but when we have connected it to V volt battery, then the potential difference, okay, potential difference across various capacitors, it will going to get drop as per their capacitance value. So charge flowing is same, charge storing is same, okay, but this potential, okay, it will get distributed along these three as per their capacitance value. So potential is distributed in inverse proportion to the capacitance, okay. So what we can say here, let I call V1 is the potential across the C1, V2 across C2, V3 across C3. So what we can say, V will be, since V is the only source, okay, so V has to get divided into V1 plus V2 plus V3. So I have written here V equals V1 plus V2 plus V3. Now V is actually what? By definition of capacitance, C equals Q by V. So V will be equal to what? Q by C. So we can write that V1 will be equal to Q by C1 because charge is same. So no need to write Q1, Q2, Q3. V2 will be Q by C2. V3 will be Q by C3. Now you put the value. So here V for any equivalent circuit simply means if we remove these three by a equivalent single component, single capacitor, okay, let I call its capacitance is C and charge is same, this Q only, okay. So left hand side I have put V will be equal to what? Q divided by C. Right hand side you put the value V1, V2, V3. So Q by C, this is equivalent for equivalent circuit, okay. You remove all component, you just replace them by single capacitor. Let its capacitance be C, battery same, everything other remains same. So V1 is Q by C1, V2 Q by C2, V3 is Q by C3, okay. Take common. So where capital C is what? Capital C is the equivalent capacitance of effective capacitance or net capacitance or total capacitance, whatever you call. Capital C is the net capacitance. You take the common, so Q is common, get cancelled out on both sides. So 1 by C is comes out to be 1 by C1, 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3, or we can say 1 by C if all are identical. So we have to simply add their reciprocals. So 1 by Ci, I equals 1 to N. Now the reciprocal of the effective capacitance is the sum of the reciprocals of the individual capacitance. So you just try to recall that in case of parallel combination of resistance, the equivalent resistance was what? 1 by R equivalent was 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2, like that. Here in series we are getting this type of result. 1 by C equivalent will be equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3, okay. Here we can easily say the effective capacitance in series combination, it will be even less than the minimum capacitor value, okay. So it will be less than the least all the individual capacitance, least of all the mean. Here equivalent capacitance, it will be even lesser than the least capacitance value of the combination, okay. Now parallel combination of capacitor. So what type of combination we can have? C1, C2, C3. So they are positive and we have joined together, negative joined together. This type of combination we call it parallel combination. We have connected them to battery. Again recall your resistance combination, parallel combination of resistances. So what remains same for them? Potential remains same. In parallel combination, potential remains same but current get distributed. If we talk about resistances, so here potential remains same but charge get distributed, okay. So what we will say, in parallel combination what remains same? Potential remains same. So this is the crucial point. In series combination charge was same, in parallel combination potential is same and charge will going to get distributed or divided. So charge is getting distributed directly proportional to the capacitance, okay. So what we can say here, let we call Q1, Q2, Q3 be the charges on the C1, C2 and C3 capacitors, but potential will going to remain same, V and V in all three cases. Okay, so what we can say now, Q will be what? Q total charge flowing. Here if we see the total charge will be what? Here Q3, Q2, Q1. So Q total will be equal to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. Okay, but what we know, Q equals C into V. By the definition of potential, C equals what? C equals capacitance equals Q divided by V. So Q will be equal to what? Do the cross multiplication. So Q will be equal to C into V. So Q1 equals C1V, Q2 equals C2V, Q3 equals C3V. And for equivalent case, what we can say? Just the definition, Q will be equal to C into V, where Q is the charge, C is the total capacitance or effective capacitance or equivalent capacitance of that equivalent circuit. Equivalent circuit, simply you remove all these. You think that only single component is there, battery same. So Q will be equal to C by V. Put the value. So Q will be equal to what? Here Q you put the value as CV for equivalent case. So Q equals CV. C is what here? It is the total capacitance. V is the potential provided by this battery. So Q equals CV will be equal to Q1 is C1V, Q2 is C2V, Q3 is C3V. V has to remain same for all three component. Now C is common, so where C is the equivalent capacitance, and this capital C will be equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3, or we can say C will be equal to summation of all Ci's. I's start summed over from 1 to n. Now the effective capacitance is the sum of individual capacitance. Here total capacitance of any parallel combination of capacitors is comes out to be what? C will be simply equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. So this is similar to the series combination of resistances. So in that sense you can remember. So these are just opposite. The expression for equivalent capacitance for series is matching to parallel combination of resistances and vice versa. Okay, so here next thing what we can say, the effective capacitance in parallel combination is larger than the largest because we are adding them, okay, of the all individual capacitances. Okay students, thank you.